Sometimes I have a learning experience when I am DMing, and sometimes I have a learning experience about being a DM by seeing an event that's happening to another DM. This is one of those moments where I watched a DM go through something, I felt I could learn from it, and felt that maybe we all could learn from it. So I'm going to share it here today. The intention of this video isn't to shit on this DM. Being a DM is hard work, and I could totally understand where they were coming from, but I do feel like there's a big learning experience here, so I do want to share the story with you all. All right, to set the scene, we are in hell. We are on the demon's side of hell. There is a room in hell that has a mirror. This mirror is in the center of the room, and it's a one-way mirror. So half the room can see the glass, and the other half can see behind the glass, which has some diamonds and stuff. All right, so me and one of my compatriots, we walk into the room. We have to make a charisma save. We fail it. The mirror absorbs us. The other two players, they pass their save so they can move through the room freely. They're trying to analyze this mirror to find out, okay, what can they do to get us back out? So they stand on the opposite side of the mirror. They stand on the side of the mirror that does not have glass. And one of the players comes up with a pretty clever idea to summon a devil and to speak to it and ask it questions about this mirror. So they say, I summon a devil, and the DM says, okay, you summon a devil, it needs to make a save against the mirror. And the player was like, why? I'm not going to summon it on the side with the glass. And the DM said, well, you didn't say that. Because you didn't say that, you're going to have to make that save. And they got in a big argument over it. I listened to their arguments, so kind of the conclusion I came to is that we have to make a couple assumptions here. The first thing we could do is assume that the character is competent, and if so, we just let them summon it on the side they wanted to summon it on, their intention. Two, we assume that they're incompetent, meaning they didn't think about it, and that it should be random, right? Because they can summon it either behind or in front. There's no reason that we should just choose in front. If they're incompetent, it should be random. But then the DM's argument was essentially that they are willfully incompetent, that they are attempting to make their life harder. And the player obviously didn't like that. The player didn't like being made incompetent and didn't like being forced into looking stupid, didn't like being forced into making a poor choice or just having their attempt cut short. Now I could see from the DM's side what the DM was going for. The DM was going for a humorous moment where devil is summoned, looks in the mirror, and then vanishes away. And it could be seen as funny, but it was at the expense of the competence of the player. And I think the backlash he received was very much so in response to that. Why are we assuming we're incompetent? And this brings me to the lesson of this experience, and that lesson to me is assume your characters are competent. These are people who have traveled to hell to rescue someone. These are people who fight dragons and go on these long adventures and are powerful. They are, for the most part, competent. And your PCs generally are competent. I'm sure there's some people who want to play a joke character who is a bumbling chef on a journey with the party. They would love to be made incompetent because that would be playing into their concept. But for most concepts, we're not wanting to feel incompetent. And we need to be careful as DMs not to force our players into incompetence. And so at the end of the day, if something comes up, a question, start from the assumption that they're competent. When I was talking to this video concept about my right-hand man, Tucker, he gave me an experience where he said, oh, I remember where I did that to one of my players. His story was that they cast sleep, and it was their first time as a player casting sleep, and so it hit the party as well as the enemy. And he said, if I had assumed that they were competent, I would have allowed them to change where they placed sleep because the character would have known how to cast the spell, even though the player didn't. And I think that's really, really important. Say, yeah, you can take your turn back. Now that you've learned some more information as a player, you can take your turn back and you can do the play you actually would want to make. I guess what I'm saying is don't be such a hard ass on your players. Like, they're only human, and give them some benefit of the doubt. Give them that expectation that they're competent. In the original situation I was talking about, it wasn't just even incompetent, it was willfully incompetent, which is just a bad feeling to leave your players with. But I want to know if you guys were in the DM seat, how you would have ruled it. Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you think the DM was in his right to have them make that charisma save? Let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, hope you have yourselves a lovely day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.